Hey everybody, today we got a repair of 1979 Space Invaders. This first video is going to be like a triage of all the work that I'm going to need to do. I may touch up some paint on the cabinets. If I do any of that, it will be last. Definitely want to replace this aluminum here. I will probably be repainting quite a bit. I'll do some new T-molding. The side art is really nice. Here's the problem. I think somebody left this outside. I think it was in the rain or just outside. So with this big piece of wood over here, I'm going to be rebuilding the cabinet, the top piece here. This second piece, I'll have to take those vents off, and finally that third piece. I've got the old pieces of wood as a template. I'm just going to cut that out. First, I vacuumed in here a little bit, but I need to see how everything is working. For now, I'm going to be taking all these boards out, recapping everything, servicing everything. Where's my multimeter? Here's my meter. One thing you always want to do before servicing anything like this is to start from the beginning with the power. Before I even plug this in, I'm going to check fuses on here, and then we'll check some voltages. Okay, looking at this main power here, it looks pretty ugly, but it's not necessarily a problem. So main power comes in from here, cable, goes into the transformer. From AC, still coming out AC. You can see all the voltages marked on the transformer, what should be coming out. Right now I'm just going to check these fuses with continuity meter. The beeping means they're not blown. That doesn't look good. And the values, I've found several answers in the service manual and everywhere, but here 3 amp on this side, 1 amp on this side. Both of them, I pull them and that's what they are, so we got good fuses. Got the power supply here. What I'll do next is I'll hook up my ground, turn her on, see what happens. Okay, I got everything ready. This board to turn it on, pull it out. Oh, got a flash. Alright. So, that's weird because I did have a sound when first came out. When I first bought it. So what you're seeing here, the monitor is actually down here inside the cabinet, reflects up into a mirror, and then this is the light you're seeing come in. So basically here's the mirror. Hi, there's me. So I may have this upside down even. So one of the problems we saw that I knew was going on is see how there's no bass. Even if I try to coin it up, let's coin it up. Okay, so sound is on. So there's the 1 credit, 3 basses. Ooh, that switch sucks. I'm gonna have to redo these switches. Hear it? Oh yeah, that's loud. the volume. The UFO is working. I don't know what that is. I don't know what that switch is. Alright. Alright. Volume. I honestly don't know where the volume is right now. Okay, anyway. Let's go ahead and double check some of these voltages. I've got this set up with my back of the cap like that. So now I'm going to look at voltage. We got fucking, that's weird. I've got nothing. 5-volt test point. I am getting, what the heck? AC voltage, I'm not kidding. This is strange. That should be 5 volts. That should be 5 volts. This should be 12. Why is it even running? I don't know. Okay, something's blowing up. 12 volts is good. But it also just stopped, so I don't know if... 5 volts is good there on that test point. It's right on. So, I'm a little confused, but what I'm going to do is I bought some kits. I'm going to replace all these capacitors here on this board. So all these big suckers, right? Then, okay, this is the soundboard. Oh, here's the volume, probably right here, this guy. Alright, so this is the daughter board you're looking at, the small one. Big one, see? Motherboard. All the connections are good. I probably shouldn't be poking around like that. It turned on. The harness is set up. There's your EEPROMs, the main processor, and the RAM. So I'm going to be recapping all these boards, and as we move on, I'm going to put in a something that goes on top of that processor to help me troubleshoot RAM. But I want to get some good voltages out of everything here first. And then when I pull this, I'm going to clean the inside and outside the cabinet, and then this is the monitor chassis. I'm considering recapping that, but it seems to be working. Not really sure. Let's try some more before I start taking it apart. Alright, so what's going on here? I got no credits. Game must have ended. I gotta push only one player button. This doesn't even work. So either I need to rebuild these switches or buy new ones. These are probably some leaf switches. I got a credit in there. Okay. Some Providence, Colorado Springs. I'll be repainting the back glass, repainting the cabinet. Crap. So, can I see up in there? So, for now, all this is going to come out, get rebuilt. Alright, got the boards out. The transformer's just sitting in there because all the harnesses are connected to it. I am going to clean it up, and I'm going to replace the power lead with a real one that has a ground prong on it. So, just so you can see a little more inside, this is the mirror. Obviously needs cleaned up. Black light. And finally, the serial number, 16255, and then some other numbers behind it. So I have no idea what the serial number is. See the cabinet lights? That's the wiring for that. Alright, time to get the boards worked on. Okay, we've got here, this is the Midway 90400 power supply. I'm going to be recapping this with a kit that I got from Arcade Parts and Repair. This is our Mega Deluxe cap kit. This is the transistor that produces the 5 volts. These are the adjustments for the voltage, so I'm going to put some labels on there after I clean this up. I'm going to take these old caps off, clean up the board, and then label it for test points. Look for any soldering problems, but it actually it looks okay, except for maybe that. Maybe I'll put some solder on that. So we'll get this all cleaned up. (90400) power supply. Alright. Here's some test points on the bottom too. Okay, it lets you know that that's your 5 volts adjust, 12 volts adjust. Oh, sorry, that's -5 up there. And +5. So I'll go ahead and label that on every side. Probably put some solder on that guy too. Alright. Very quickly, I wanted to go over desoldering these things. First off, have the right tool. This is a good desoldering iron. It makes this whole process super fast and easy. Ew, look at that. I'm gonna have to do something about that. Yeah. Alright, got done recapping everything. There's all the old capacitors. Even though they look kind of nasty, they're not testing so bad, but because of the electrolytic fluid possibly drying out, just changed them all with the kit. Kit came with a little map, an information sheet. Some of these straps I may or may not put on, they're not really necessary. So here is where the voltage is made, most of it anyway. This is the positive 5 volt transistor. This is the negative 5 volts, that's the 7905. And here's the 12 volts, that's a 7812. Excuse me. So I've got all the adjustment points marked. The only thing that I didn't get in the kit that I was may be concerned about are these two tantalum capacitors. They test just fine, but when these fail, they fail as a short or an open, and I was surprised that getting a kit I didn't get those, but I guess it's not a big deal since those are fine for right now. Checked all my other points on the back of the board. Got everything soldered up nice. No need to do that screw. That's just for that base isolator of that transistor. So looks like that's all done. I did put all the test points marked on here, so just real quick, there's a reset, and it said it should be 0.5 volts or less. This is according to Elektron Forge's website. The plus 12 test point here, plus 5, 18 volts that goes to your audio supply is across this capacitor here, and this is where you'll hook up your ground when you're doing all your DC testing for your 5 volts, 12 volts, and -5. And here's the -5 test point up there. Okay, so put that aside until it's ready to get put in the cabinet. Okay, now on to the main board. This is the Midway Space Invaders motherboard. A breakdown of what's up on this motherboard first. So here is the 8080 processor. This is like the computer chip that does everything. These are the ROM read-only memory code where all the game lives, and look how nasty those legs are. They're like black and dirty. That one's not so bad, but that's like really tarnished. I'm gonna have to pull those and then clean up the legs. So all the game code lives in here, and these there's the program code and the read-only memory. This processor will take what it needs out of the code and throw it into here, into your RAM, into your random access memory, just like in your computer. Now these tend to go bad. I have purchased some more. I've got bought a bunch of 5280s. Those are equivalent, so I'm ready to go when these go bad, because I'm pretty sure rather than pull them all out, I'm just gonna sock it as needed. I don't want to pull them out if they're not bad. There's no real reason to do that. So here on the board, this is where the strapping is. This is where you change. If you want to burn your own ROMs, because these are unobtainium, you can use a different kind of ROM, but you have to let the board know how to read it. I'm not going to do that. I'd like to, but I'd have to buy the ROMs, the ROM writer, everything. There's one reason I would like to do that, is to be able to test these RAMs. There's no program in this version of Space Invaders to automatically test the RAM chips. You could probably get into that on the internet, but something to do with licensing is dumb. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna resocket the chip. It's got a socket in there, but I don't know, and I don't know about these sockets either, but I'll clean that up. And in between the CPU installing that chip, I'm going to install, this is a braze kit. Can't really see it here. But this will go in between the CPU that CPU will go on top of this, and then this will sit where that used to be. And what is this? So this is from Braze Technologies. I got this for a couple reasons. If you use this, it has a built-in test where I can test the ROMs and the RAM without having to burn my own ROMs. Number two, it saves the high scores when the game gets turned off. Number three, it'll play Space Invaders Deluxe, or otherwise known as Space Invaders 2, on this cabinet, as well as a couple of other games without changing the ROMs. It actually plays from in here. So it's a good way to upgrade everything. Speaking of upgrading, another Mega Deluxe cap kit for the PCB. I'm going to be recapping everything. There's not a lot, but see, these are those tantalum capacitors. They look like they're dipped in something, you know, and when they fail, if they go short, then that's something you really don't want. Look at that connector, it's so dirty. When I pull that apart, I'll show you what I'm going to do with that. I'm going to clean it. I'm not going to put solder on it. Look how dirty. This is the back of the soundboard. Let's move on to the soundboard. So these are connections for the jack. I see a lot of people online putting solder on this. I would not do that for a couple reasons. If you push the teeth out, when you have this is thicker with solder, it's gonna push teeth out on anything that grips it. I would use, this is a fiberglass pen. A little bit of fiberglass comes out there. Let's see if I can do this. Maybe you can't see, but how immediately I've taken off that oxidation. You can see how the light's reflecting off it different. See all the schmutz? It just comes right off with this pen, and you snip that off. But I'm not scraping any metal off, I'm not ruining anything, and I'm not making the layer thicker. Fiberglass pen. Here is that was the volume pot that I was looking for. Yep, it's all the way up. Ooh. So that's why everything was super loud. Audio amplifier chip. This is a heat sink because it gets super hot. I'm just gonna clean all this up. I did not get a cap kit for this soundboard. I'm eventually gonna be in here looking for some sounds. Looks like somebody's replaced something there and there and there and there. So the fun part is I get to look into everything. So I really need to clean this up. These are dip switches to change your difficulty, or if the cabinet is in a little cocktail thing, you need the monitor to spin around, or extra ships, etc. So we're going to throw in this kit. I'm not going to label anything, but I'm going to clean it up. And then I'll show it to you again.